Hello and welcome to another Sky Sports Fantasy Football video. We are back again this time with the new and improved game week previews. Previously I did feel like the videos were starting to get a bit too much opinion based, and it was really it felt more like an update of kind of my own standings and my own opinions rather than an actual factual preview, if that makes sense. So I wanted to add a couple extra things in there, hopefully reduce the video time down a little bit. I felt like it was getting a bit too long at 20 minutes, so we'll see how we get on here. But as I said, we do have a couple extra things. We've got some new graphics coming in as well, and let's jump straight into things. So we are starting off with the average remaining transfers, which you can find over on the official Sky Sports Fantasy Football Twitter page. They post it every Friday around noontime, but we do obviously use this to kind of get a gauge of where we are currently with transfers as compared to the kind of higher up managers. So we do have this Friday's. This was obviously 4 days ago now, so there would have been a lot more transfers used over the weekend. I know a few people would have used 2 or 3 transfers, which would bring this down even lower, but we will find out what the current transfer count is on Friday. But as of Friday, this is the only information we have, and it's showing us basically how having a bad rank right now really doesn't make a difference. You're looking at the top 10, the top 100 with 16 average transfers left. I look at myself and I've got about, what have I got, 30, 38 and 37 it says in the bottom left. So that's literally more than double the transfers of the top 100. So everyone who is in that position, and even in the top 1,000 and top 5,000, have used way more transfers than most of us right now. And that's obviously why they are such a high rank. But towards the end of the season, they're literally going to drop right off, and we're going to be using our transfers and boosting the rank. But I think really, if you're sitting on 14 transfers right now, you're definitely doing something wrong, and it's not going to be very good for you at the end of the season. But it's a good confidence booster for those of us with a poor rank. You can see myself right now, it's not going too well. I had another bad game week. You can see that in the bottom right of the table. The weekly game score was literally 2 of the worst scores you can get in the game. But we are looking to improve on that, and again, I'll show you my team later on in the video. So transfers in and out in the past week, then you can see in the top left the kind of dates that we're going by. It's a new section I wanted to add because I think it kind of gives you a good idea of the players that a lot of people are starting to bring in, and maybe some moves that other people are making that you might want to take from. So we do have the top 5 transfers in and out in the last 7 days. We have Ollie Watkins at the top, who is at the top by a good margin at 4% as well. I brought him in my second team this week. I already have him in my first team, but I think with his fixtures, I believe it's Forest, Fulham, Luton. They were from Sunday. Those were the next 3 fixtures, and the form he's in right now, you are definitely going to want him. So it shows you why he was so popular. And we've also got Mo Salah. That's really just people that didn't have him. Douglas Luiz, a surprising one. He has done very well recently. At 8 million. The only thing I don't like about him is he does take up a midfielder spot, which is has a lot of good options this season. There is loads of players that you're going to want, so having Douglas Luiz in there does limit that. But obviously he is getting the points and he has been playing fantastic. The same with Matty Cash, another one that's quite popular. And my problem this year that I definitely have to look back into is going for fullbacks in Sky. A lot of players that I've got in FPL, the likes of Matty Cash, I've had from the start. I wouldn't want to touch in Sky because they aren't guaranteed the likes of passing bonus and shot and tackle bonus, which is a big thing for me when playing Sky. So I usually tend to go for centre backs, and it has definitely been a bit of a downfall, which is probably why my rank is as low as it is right now. But the likes of Cash I didn't go for, Trippier I missed out on, Simicast even now I've also missed out on, and probably gonna need to look into maybe getting Simicast this weekend or in the future at least, because I'm losing out on a lot of points for these fullbacks that are getting a lot of points, and they even are starting to get some bonuses as well. So I really need to reconsider the way I look at defenders in this game. And then we've got Saka as well, who again is probably just someone who people are bringing in just because they don't have him. The fixtures are getting good for Arsenal, so you are going to have to look at getting him in. And for players out, we're looking at Isak, who is someone I also took out at the weekend for Ollie Watkins, the highest transferred player out in the last week, purely because Callum Wilson's back in the squad. Isak's going to start getting rotated again, and of course he did pick up a groin injury in the Champions League last week. We don't really know how long that's going to be for, but I think even if he never picked up that injury, he still would have been coming out for me this week, so it explains why Isak is at the top of that list. Odegaard's not really been performing. Ward-Prowse as well had a very, very good start to the season and hasn't really been getting the same amount of returns, so a lot of people seem to be taking him out. Luis Diaz unfortunately had the tragic news of his parents being kidnapped over in Colombia, so he wasn't going to play on Saturday. I think that is now resolved, so everything should be fine for him. And then of course we now have Pedro Neto, who also picked up an injury. Was starting to pick up some form and would have been a decent captaincy option for that single against Fulham, but now it looks like he will be missing that and we're going to have to look elsewhere. But that is the transfers in and out. Thanks to FF Stuff, you can go and check their website. I'll have that in the description. That's where you get all of the best Sky information. So looking at this week's fixtures and captaincies, then we have got a new graphic for this as well. You will be able to see the fixtures over on the right hand side, and then we've got our best captain on the far left, and then just a little bit smaller as our second and third best captains. So looking at Saturday, I feel like the obvious option of course has to be Erling Haaland. Once again proved why you should captain him all the time against Manchester United, with a lot of people going for the likes of Salah and Watkins instead. Haaland ended up proving to be the best captaincy choice with 2 goals and an assist against United. So we are looking at a Bournemouth game at home for him on Saturday, and it looks like an obvious captaincy choice because outside of the City game there's really not too many good fixtures in terms of picking a captaincy. That's why we have Alvarez in at number 2 as well. We do have Haaland's previous record against Bournemouth at the top there. You can see 2 games played, 1 goal and 1 assist. We also have his last 5 games where he's picked up 5 goals and an assist, which again he's kind of picking up the goals again. He had a slight dry patch for a couple of games and now he seems like he's right back to it. And I think Bournemouth at home, you can see just below that as well, there's 5 games in Bournemouth's last 5 games they've conceded 10 goals, so it does look like the best captaincy choice. I think close to 100% of people are going to have him as the captain there for Saturday. Other than that, I've went for Evan Ferguson as the third best captain. Purely because looking at those games, I wouldn't want to captain the likes of Saka against Newcastle at home. It is just a very, very tough game, and the likes of Newcastle players as well, I wouldn't really want to be looking at them because Arsenal have been pretty solid defensively this season, so I think I'd just totally ignore that game for captaincy. But I do have Ferguson as a bit of a differential captain against Everton. I think Ferguson should be nailed on now with Welbeck's long-term injury, and I think at 7.8 million I think he is. I was actually tempted to even bring him in on Sunday and did say to someone about possibly making that transfer because I think he could start to get some regular game time, and he is a very, very good player and does pick up a lot of goals. So Everton is one of those teams where you probably could expect a goal or 2 from him, and I just thought he would be a decent differential pick. And for the Sunday captain, we have Salah, who is another player who's been absolutely fantastic this season, and he has 6 goals in 5 games. He has never played against Luton before, which is why we don't have that record there, but Luton have conceded 9 goals in their last 5 games, which is quite surprising looking at the likes of Bournemouth who've conceded more. So for those who play FPL, Haaland might look like a better captaincy there, with Bournemouth looking like the worse defence than Luton are. But I think especially when you look at those 2 games with Villa, really only Villa and Liverpool are the 2 options there. And I think the reason I don't have Watkins in that 3 there is because Nottingham Forest are a very strong team at home. They do have a very good home record, and we did just see Watkins blank against Luton as well. So I could totally backfire on me, but I have went for Nunes and Van Dijk as the next best options, purely because I think Nunes is one of those games he could get a goal or 2. Hopefully he starts as well, and then Van Dijk, I think you can pretty much nail a clean sheet. for them, and he gets past here every game. The only problem being it would be an away game, so there is a bit up in arms with that one. For Monday we went for Son and Maddison, a big toss up between who the best captaincy is. I do think it's Son just because he is playing as a striker right now. He doesn't actually have the best record against Chelsea, with only 2 goals and 0 assists in 14 games, but I feel like we could end up seeing one of those games where just no one really picks up too many points. It could be like a 0-0 or like a 1 each. One thing is that Chelsea do concede most of their chances from the right hand side or from Chelsea's left hand side, meaning that Kulusevski could actually end up being the game changer in that game. But I wouldn't be looking to transfer him in. That's just one that you have to let be. And of course we have Romero as well, because I do think there's a decent chance of a Tottenham Hotspur clean sheet there as well, being at home and Chelsea really struggling to score goals right now. And we saw that at the weekend when they played against Brentford. So taking a look at some possible transfers for this week, I do think it could be quite a quiet week with not many transfers going on, but we do have Alvarez here. If you are holding Alvarez right now, he does have a couple of tough games. I'll try and explain the graphic here. We do have, you can see the next 5 games for 3 teams. In blue you can see Alvarez's games, in purple Watkins' games, and then in red Nunez games as well, and then that's boxed off. So we do have Alvarez possibly going to someone like Watkins or Nunez. I do think could be a decent option. They are within the 1 million range of each other, and I think if you don't have Watkins, that could be a good move. With the City players, with the attackers all coming back from injury now, and Grealish, who is now starting to play quite well again, we could be looking at another episode of Pep Roulette. I don't know if you can guarantee Alvarez's game time, especially with those tough fixtures and the Champions League in between that. So literally Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, Villa, the next 4 are looking quite difficult for City. So I do think someone like Watkins or Nunez with the easier fixtures could definitely be a good move. We also have Bayer at the bottom to Tsimikas. Now this really could be anyone. If you have an enabler that you want to get rid of, Tsimikas does look like a good option. He is someone that I heavily put off. Even at the weekend, there was a move that I personally should have made. With Bayer being out injured, Tsimikas playing on Sunday, I should have just made the move, and now I've missed out on 11 points doing so. But he literally is only 0.6 million more than Bayer is, and he basically is going to be nailed on until the overhaul. I'm pretty sure Robertson will be back next year, which means you can just keep him there as a defender and let him sit for a while. We don't actually have a confirmed date yet back for Bayer either, which makes the move look even more appealing. But like I said, it's one that I'm just going to have to take an L on, not going for Tsimikas earlier, and probably going to have to look at him. He did pick up passes and tackles as well at the weekend, and it's probably only going to be a matter of time before he picks up an attack and return as well from left back. So I do think that could be a decent move. So a quick look at the schedule then. We really don't have, again, like I said, too much action going on. If you're looking to bring in a player this weekend or make a transfer, you're really only looking at Forest, Liverpool. I would ignore Luton, I would ignore Forest. I would probably ignore Spurs now, and I would definitely ignore Chelsea. Everyone should have a captain for Monday anyways. So realistically, you're making a move. It's going to be a Liverpool player or it's going to be an Aston Villa player. Both of them have good upcoming fixtures, so whoever really you're interested in could always be an option. In terms of getting players out, I do think if you have anyone other than Haaland, and then obviously we will look at getting Rodri in soon. I think Haaland and Rodri are really the only 2 players I would lock in for City players in terms of Sky because of the difficult fixtures. I think if you're, again, maybe still holding Diaz, moving him down to someone like Cash or even Tsimikas, you're freeing up a lot of money there. But realistically, you're looking at Liverpool and you're looking at Villa. Probably wouldn't look anywhere else. So you're Watkins, Diaby, Cash, maybe Van Dijk, Tsimikas, Nunez, Salah. Probably wouldn't look anywhere else. And wrapping things up, we are on the Sky Fantasy Football website to sort out my team for the weekend. And honestly, looking at these, looking at literally both my teams, I'm really happy with the way both are looking. I'm just not getting the points. For weeks I've not moved whatsoever, and I don't like, my players aren't even blanking. I'm not getting the most points, but I'm getting consistent points, and it's just not really going too well. I think the things that really did blow my rank up was the Newcastle defenders that I just didn't go for. And then obviously Haaland, captain at the weekend. I think I felt like I was doing quite well over the weekend, and I just hadn't moved whatsoever. I think I dropped 200 places, and then Haaland played, and then I dropped loads more places. But realistically, right, if I'm going to make the Bayer transfer, I don't know if I'm going to yet, but I am free to do it. I don't really have many planned transfers other than doing Maddison to Rodri in a couple of weeks. Which means I can take a couple of weeks off in terms of making transfers and kind of sit back and let them build up. But that team's going to take me to 37 transfers, and I'm happy with that. Like, there's not a player there I would think I need to get rid of. Basuma's back, got 4 points with past years again at the weekend, so I'm more than happy to keep him even through suspension. But literally looking at that team, I'm more than happy with it. Whether I make the Tsimikas transfer again, we will see, but Saturday's captain is of course going to be Haaland. Sunday is going to be Salah, and then Monday we are relying on Maddison because I don't have Son in this team. So 3 fairly obvious captain choices again. And then looking at the second team, again another team I'm very, very happy with. If I was literally again to make the Bayer to Tsimikas transfer, I don't see literally anything wrong with this team, and that's without Rodri in it. That team looks fantastic, possibly the best defence you can get at the moment. And I think a lot of people are going to start bringing Dunk in a couple of weeks again because he is just picking up consistent points. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Brighton aren't keeping any clean sheets, but looking at those points, it's very difficult not to have them. And eventually, they're going to keep a clean sheet, and you're going to get the likes of 10 points from Dunk there. So again, I'm more than happy with this team, and then in a couple of weeks it's probably going to end up being Son to Rodri, but we do have 0.3 in the bank, so I could possibly even do someone like Watkins to Rodri, or that's probably about it, to be honest. I don't think I would want to do anyone else. But yeah, again, things are looking good. I feel like I'm going to set my team up well and hopefully start climbing the ranks again. But that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. And I'm always open to suggestions about what kind of things you would like added to the video. So I've tried to add in as much as possible and keep the video like short enough. I don't want to drag on about too many things. So if there's anything you want to see included, and you think would make the video a bit better, make sure to leave it in the comments. But if you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe because we do this every single week, and I'll see you all in the next video.